The Hinterkaifeck murders took place in March 1922 on a small, isolated farmstead located 70 kilometers north of Munich, Germany. The victims were Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, Victoria's two children, Cecilia, age 7, and Joseph, age 2, and the family maid, Maria Baumgartner, who had just started working there the day before the tragedy. Strange occurrences before the murders. In the days leading up to the murders, Andreas Gruber had noticed several strange events that unsettled him. He found a newspaper in the house that no one in the family had bought. More disturbingly, Andreas discovered footprints in the snow leading from the nearby forest to the house, but there were no footprints leading back. He also reported hearing strange noises coming from the attic at night, but after searching the house and the attic, he found no one. Despite these eerie signs, the family did not leave the farm or alert the authorities. The murders. On the evening of March 31st, 1922, someone lured members of the Gruber family, one by one, into the barn. First Andreas Gruber, then his wife Cecilia, followed by their daughter Victoria, and finally Victoria's 7-year-old daughter, were all brutally attacked with a mattock, a heavy agricultural tool with a blade. The murderer continued to strike even after the victims were dead. Little Cecilia reportedly survived the attack for a few hours, as she was found with clumps of her own hair in her hands, likely pulled out in pain and terror. After killing the 4 in the barn, the perpetrator entered the farmhouse, where the maid Maria and the youngest child, Joseph, were killed in their beds with the same weapon. The crime was not discovered until April 4, 1922, when neighbors grew suspicious after no one had seen the family for several days. Despite this, smoke had still been seen rising from the chimney. The postman had also noticed that the mail was piling up, and little Cecilia had been absent from school. A group of concerned neighbors went to the farm to investigate. What they found shocked them. The bodies of the 4 family members were stacked on top of each other in the barn, hidden under hay. Inside the house, they found Maria and Joseph, murdered in their respective rooms. All 6 victims had been killed with extreme brutality. The killer's chilling behavior. After the murders, the killer apparently stayed at the farm for several days. The animals were fed, the cows were milked, and food had been eaten from the family's kitchen. The house had been well kept, but nothing significant had been stolen. This chilling detail suggested that the killer felt comfortable enough to remain at the scene of the crime for an extended period. The investigation. Despite a thorough investigation, the authorities were unable to solve the case. They questioned several suspects, including Victoria's husband, who had supposedly died in World War I, but no solid evidence ever emerged. Theories about the motive for the murders ranged from a revenge killing to a robbery gone wrong, but the lack of stolen valuables made the robbery theory less likely. One dark rumor suggested that Joseph was the product of an incestuous relationship between Victoria and her father, Andreas, and that the murders were a result of some sort of retribution. However, none of these theories could be proven, and the killer was never found. Modern investigations. Over the years, the Hinterkaifeck murders have been the subject of many books, documentaries, and amateur sleuthing. Modern forensic techniques have been applied to the case, but the lack of preserved evidence and the passage of time have made it nearly impossible to reach any definitive conclusions. In 2007, a group of police academy students conducted a thorough review of the case, identifying a suspect. But due to the passage of time, the name has been kept confidential out of respect for the suspect's descendants. The haunting legacy. The Hinterkaifeck murders remain one of Germany's most baffling and terrifying unsolved crimes. The eerie events leading up to the murders, the brutal nature of the killings, and the killer's unexplained actions in the aftermath have left a haunting legacy that endures to this day. The abandoned farm was eventually demolished in 1923, but the story of the Hinterkaifeck murders continues to intrigue and terrify those who hear it. The case remains unsolved, and the identity of the killer, along with the motive, may never be known.